This is your daily market review for Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review, Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. World War III looks like it might break out, probably not. Oh, hopefully. Set prayers, thoughts, beliefs, hopes out there that it doesn't, but not surprised. The market kind of rallied. We talked about the market potentially backfilling going into Nvidia's earnings. Yeah, we'll see how it holds up. I mean, in my opinion, we'll see. Again, Nvidia's numbers, in my opinion, are gonna be hard to swallow. And when I say hard to swallow, meaning like the reality is that whatever those numbers are, the future growth potential. Again, we talk about growth rates. The rate of growth cannot continue up at this point. Again, there's only downside. Again, now you're talking about other chip manufacturers trying to compete. And again, will they be able to compete? That's the thing. You don't know for sure, but the idea that they are is what's going to ultimately change the pricing models for this stuff. And again, it's hard to sustain. So if you're new to the channel, want to join the Discord room, link description below. Again, posting here and there about what's going on. It's just some days there's not a lot to say. Again, trade around your positions. We talked about managing them. If you're long MicroStrategy, like we talked about, go into the 400 area plus, keeps going. Again, I've said this over and over. The market cap on this thing is still half of what Palantir is. I mean, again, if you want to talk about silliness, again, I don't know what the real value of what Bitcoin should be priced at, but I've said this over and over. I think it's still potentially undervalued if Bitcoin price gets up to 100,000. We'll see what happens here. Again, trade around your positions. I think long term, if it's going to be like one of these stocks that goes nutty, I mean, $100 billion company, we've seen nuttierness to $1 trillion company. So yeah, that's one that I think, again, it's not going to be an easy always up trade, but I think that if Bitcoin holds up and crypto is, especially Bitcoin crypto, especially for the Trump administration, then I mean, MicroStrategy still probably is cheap. I've just had that conversation with a friend of mine. I just say, hey man, if you got calls on that thing, manage that thing and hopefully you crush it. So, all right, you need help, real estate, buying, selling, investing, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, we keep talking about how this might be one of the best opportunities to buy real estate. Now, again, are you looking to get rich on it or are you looking to foundationally invest in it for the long term? Because I personally believe that, again, if you think housing prices, which go up 3 to 5%, sometimes they go up 10, 15% some years, it's better to buy when it's easy versus to overpay. Waiting could cost you money. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to wait for this and wait for that. Okay, well, again, you got through the election. Whether you like the team that won or not really doesn't matter at this point. Just don't just sit here thinking that you're going to time it always perfectly. Again, get a good price, get a good deal now, get the sellers to pay for stuff, then you got a deal. And long term, again, 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now, it's not going to make a difference whether you paid $10,000 difference, in my opinion. Like, you want to chat, hit the Calendly link, hit me up, posting trades on Twitter. Listed this really good house down in Colorado Springs. Dope. Give me a shout if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns. Again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to. Hit a thanks button. I appreciate it. Drop the thanks. Donate to the channel. It's always a blessing. Again, give it all away for free. All for free, mate. So always here to help. Again, tradingagent.com. Check out all of the resources. Got to change this to 2025. Probably do that in December. But anyway, keep an eye on it. So we know the Fed watch tool. Right now at this point, it's feeling like the rate cut likely grows with war stuff. But again, we didn't really budge much today. The Bitcoin, again, I always have to refresh it right before because I want to know what the real price is. Right now. Right meow. Can you get away with saying right meow? How many times? If you know that reference, leave a comment below. We've talked about it getting stuck here around one of the fibs. Again, I think it makes sense to get 98, 99,000. But after that, it could go in a consolidation pattern. We'll see. Again, you don't know anything for certain, so that's why you trade around your positions. Oil, range lows, chopping around. Again, I think that's the right price. It doesn't feel like it. Let's hit the refresh. Eat fresh, refresh. Okay, yeah, I guess it is. I thought it was a little higher, but $69 a barrel. Again, I don't think there's much downside long term when you zoom out. But again, if the market gets flushed and throw the baby out of the bathwater, which I anticipate, you're going to see some pain. Natural gas, chopping against the high. I mean, again, we talked about if exporting natural gas is going to be the future of the United States, I think, oil and gas industry. That's just my opinion. That's what I've been reading about. And again, there's nothing certain. It's an opinion. Take it or leave it. Dollar, we talked about this getting a little tight up here. King Dollar had a nice run. TLT, it's like, man, they can barely buy. I mean, you can barely get a bounce with war stuff. So again, we've held the 89 plus area. So far, so good. Again, really need to get over this area. Need to get over the 200-day. It's all going to coalesce at some point. That's the area that I'd be watching, because if it gets over it, then man, you could probably start the moon rocket, especially if you think rates are going to go down. And that's the problem. If you don't start looking at real estate now and the rates go down and everyone piles in, you're going to pay higher prices. I mean, that's how it always goes. Once the rates go down, people come piling in who've been waiting. VIX, we talked about it getting stuck here at the 20, 50, 100-day confluence. Not surprised. Keep an eye on it. VIX bottom first. We talked about this. Okay, just not every day is up in the market or down. So watch. Keep an eye on it. 590 on the SPY held. It's interesting. We opened at the 20-day. We're back into the gap. 8, 10-day gap fill. I mean, if it's a down move, I don't think the gap will fill. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Q. Same thing. Gap. 20-day or 8, 10-day back testing, range highs. Pretty important spot here. I mean, again, if you get over it, you could fill the gap, but it's one of those things where we talk about, like, if you're in a downtrend, you're not going to fill all gaps. And if you're in an uptrend, you're not going to fill all gaps. IWM, chopping around. Nice close near the high of the day, but I mean, it's oversold. Not surprised. DIA, not much on this one, right? 20-day though, holding. Gold, we talked about it being oversold. Geopolitical risk, of course it's going to bounce. It just, again, I don't necessarily trust it, meaning long-term, yes. Fundamentally, yes, absolutely. Near-term, you're playing the geopolitical risk game. I mean, we've talked about how miners and silver are lagging. Like silver, you would think would be up another 30, 40, 50 cents. Nothing. GDX, man, we talked about these bouncing at the 200-day. Okay. We've talked about it. I mean, you can't bet on a down move all the time, especially in all stocks. It's just, they don't, again, no. GDXJ, same kind of thing. Nice little bounces. We recommended, not even, I mean, I didn't recommend buy, but I recommended if you had profits on your trades down. Makes sense, right? AEM, another one that was just looking like it's going to turd basket. Nice bounce. Again, I think AEM is definitely going to be one of the ones you have to keep in your basket when you start looking to trade these names long term. AG, backtest the trend line. Not much to say there. Newmont Mining, as we talked about, this one's worth watching. Major area down here, VAP zone, held the 40 area. Keep an eye on it. Pass. Again, long term, I think if you disappear a year, you're going to be fine. It's just the volatility. What's the path to get there? It's not going to be a straight line. Same thing with pass. Just whatever. Keep it moving on. Taiwan semi. Again, it looks like the top is in. Nice little bounce here. Not surprised. Again, it can't go down every day. Micron, same thing. Hits the top of the range, makes a new low. Okay, chop around. AMD, man, CFO's leaving. Yikes, get the fudge out of here. Lower lows, lower highs. Okay, do for a little bounce. Maybe 8, 10-day worth a watch. Nvidia, nice pump here today. Again, are you surprised? No. I mean, I personally didn't think it would rise that much, but I don't really have a position. I'd be watching. Again, I think personally, whatever happens, the second mouse gets the cheese. You can play up into earnings, but at some point, please do not play through earnings. We have no clue. SMCI trying to get back into Nasdaq and not get delisted. I mean, all their accountants are leaving. We'll see. I mean, you're just gambling out here. If you want to play it, just define your risk. If you get gapped out and gapped on, you got warned. Intel, nothing. SMH, again, we like the Soxus short, like the Soxus as a short. Broke the wedge. I mean, do all gaps get filled? I don't think so. I mean, I just watch it. I mean, if you won't really know until Thursday. That's the hard part here. And you could backfill. Adobe, nice pop, giving it back. Apple was up pretty solidly in the 230 area, Dan. Again, a wick at the end of the day. Amazon, Bezos is done selling. 20-day, seems to be holding. Just keep it simple, stupid. Meta, talking about the range lows. Watch what happens down here. Chopping. I mean, you go from, technically a little oversold, right? 590 down to, drop 50 points. Someone's going to be there on the dip. They always are, especially if the market's holding up. CRM, same kind of thing. Someone's going to be there. Guggenheim seems to be stuck between the gap and the 20-day, right? Just not much to say. Short the highs, cover the lows, keep an eye on it. Microsoft going nowhere. Again, this is where it's like tech is just so laggy. Certain tech, especially. NDAQ closed in the 80 area again. I like this long-term short. I could be, early is typical usually, way early, honestly. If you go back all the way, I still thought it was a short in the 74 area. But Again, I don't have a position on it. If you do, again, you can buy cheap puts on this long dated. MicroStrategy, again, congrats. Now what? Yeah, I mean, this thing does crazy stuff. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I can't do something out of control. This has done this before. I mean, I personally now think if you get over the 400 level, which we did, I don't know why you wouldn't go up into the 500s at some point. Again, the market cap on this thing isn't out of control. Netflix all over the place with that fight. New highs. We'll see. Roblox, here you go, coming around, holding this like 50 areas. All right, keep an eye on it. Again, if the market's up, things will rise. If the market's down, things will flop. And again, we talked about the oversold conditions. Don't be surprised. If you hedge positions, good. Looking solid. PAN-W, again, over the range highs. Worth a watch. You know, at this point, you got to be careful. Just got to be careful. Someone's at the doorbell. Let's see who it is. Is it worth answering? Is it worth answering? I'll be right back. Oh man, the solar guy is sneaking in trying to sell me solar. What a waste of money. Yeah, anyway. PAN-W, range highs holding up. Keep an eye on it. Teslas, we've talked about. I mean, it looks like near term oversold to a bounce back to the range highs. I mean, we filled the gap. I mean, I personally don't have like a strong inkling on this near term. I would just warn you that, again, Trump's favorite. Okay, cool. Elon is buddy. I think long term there will be prices to buy that make sense to go higher. Near term, I don't know. Insight. Wow. Glad we don't chase. Look at that. Pulls right back. Watching these areas. Again, I think they're a buyout target. Watch what happens down here in the 50s. Palantir. Feels like it's topped, right? Looks like it. Feels like it. We'll see what happens the next couple days. McDonald's. Chop. 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 Holding the range lows. Again, it's funny, those memes. All the boys eating McDonald's. DraftKings, again, I personally think this is a dead cat bounce. Just big choppy zone. The more that they expand, the more it costs. But again, it's like how much was that priced in? Because the growth rates, I mean, it's going to cost money to grow. Airbnb, 150-day. Chop, chop, chop. Costco. Retailers seem to be holding up pretty well. I know we got some homies playing the TJX and Target after the close. We'll see what happens here. Is it after the close? Target is in the morning. I think TJX is. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, Starbucks, we talked about the 100 range. Chop, chop, fizz, fizz, fizz. FedEx. Chopping around. I like the short up here a lot. I like it a lot. Keep an eye on it. Caterpillar's been straddling the 50-day. Broke below it and then rallied back. I mean, again, this is where it's hard to get follow through on up days and down days if the market goes the opposite direction of your trade. Deer, range highs, chopping around. Big chop zone. Does feel like a downtrend in the formation, but it could be a flag. Keep an eye on it. Nucor, steel. Again, we like steel. Let it come in. We like materials. We love materials. Let it come in. Same thing, X. I mean, I hope that thing gets burned and then someone else comes in and steps in and buys it. VALE, back at range lows. Arrow, we've talked about. Copper names, oversold near term. Not surprised. Look at that. I mean, I like these stuff long term. CCJ, holding up. Uranium looks good, y'all. Ag names, not so hot. CF looks better than Mosaic and say NTR, but in general, not so hot. NTR, chopping around, range lows. AA, again, we like aluminum. I like it. Hopefully it doesn't lift off without me watching the 45, 46 area. XLF, I mean, I'm surprised that, like, again, banks hold all the risk, but man, just not going anywhere. JP Morgan, we talked about some of these stocks retesting highs. You have ranges to reference. Morgan Stanley made a little new high yesterday, giving it back up barely though. Bank of America been holding up pretty dang well, right? Chopping. Goldman Sachs. That cap down today is a little sneaky. I'd watch what happens if it gets to 591, if it fills the gap. We've talked about KRE, again, up at the highs. It seems to have topped. I mean, look at that big donkey candle. All right, keep an eye on that one. Can't say much about XBI, which has been throttle bombed. I mean, we've talked about how the biotech sector is going to have issues if Trump's administration gets in. Just worth a watch. Jets seems to be starting to melt a little bit. I mean, we talk about Spirit Air going out of business. I mean, the first drop of the 20-day typically gets bought. How big is the buy? That's what I'd ask. XHB, again, we talk about housing weakening. No doubt in my mind seeing it. But again, the future implication of potential lower rates, I mean, I don't really see the lower rates coming, but I do see these guys trying to play games. So it's trying to play games. You know what I mean? Man. Anyway, keep an eye on all this stuff. I mean, it's 100 days been really crucial. Sorry, just kind of like eyeballing the shit out of it. Tan, solar, we talked about. Dead cat bounce. How much of a dead cat? Speaking of sailor solar guy trying to sell me solar, get out of here. ENPH, oh, you want to save money? Yeah, nothing's free, guy. Nothing's free. I think the hardest part about solar is if it ever gets damaged, who's going to fix it? Who's going to deal with it when you get your roof replaced? Who's ripping it off? Anyway, you have to have policies in place. Just keep them in mind. ENPH, we talked about these getting bombed on, going nowhere. First Solar, HYG, right? Got to be crazy to buy corporate debt. Oil. Keep an eye on this one, right? We like oil long term, but natural gas is my favorite. But again, I don't like the UNG. I personally struggle with these, meaning like I don't want to chase them yet, but they could catch the bounty. Again, if you short up here, this is a good trade, man. It's a really good trade. Very simple trade. XOP, we talked about trying to get over the 200-day. A nothing burger today. CVE, we talked about 16, 15 area seems to be holding, worth watching. Valero, the gasoline names had a little nice move yesterday and a little, I don't know, indecisive day today. Notice that, really nothing. No follow through at moving averages. I mean, again, you can zoom in if you want, 50-day. ExxonMobil, this one has been stuck, just going nowhere. Again, Occidental, Buffett just probably cannot get enough of this, right? And you zoom out, you can see it's an absolutely monster chop range. It's just consolidating. When it goes, it'll go, and Buffett will be there, and he'll be like, oh, I told you guys I bought half the company now, and now it's booming. He'll be like, kiss my white butt. Probably won't say that. He'll be drinking a Coca-Cola, just quiet. EQT chopping around again. We talked about the 44 area being resistance near term. Could it break out? That's always hard to guess at this point, but keep an eye on it. Last but not least, Flex LNG, because I think we'll be natural gas exporter. So keep an eye on this stuff. I mean, it's just worth watching. Again, I would not actively trading it, but if you need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, please leave a comment, like a heart, leave a donation if you like. Again, comments are appreciated. Again, it helps the algorithm so people can learn and grow. Again, we're not selling certainty. And again, I appreciate all the folks in the Discord posting. You guys are great. Let me know how I can help. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great evening. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.